All right, well, we're going to go ahead and get started. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you guys for joining us today. Today we're going to be talking about Valo Intranet Rapid Deployment using Valo and Optimum. If you could, if you haven't already, please go ahead and mute your mics. If you have any questions throughout, feel free to add them in the chat or save them for the end, and we'll be sure to cover them in our Q&A time at the end. So I wanted to let you guys know, for those of you who are attending today, we're offering a free assessment for any webinar attendees of your current digital workspace environment. And so what this means is we'll take a look at what you're currently doing, no matter where you are at in your workspace development. And then from that assessment, you'll receive a roadmap to transforming your digital workplace. So after the webinar, we'll send out an email with more details on how you can be a part of that assessment. So for today, your speakers are going to be myself and Ilya. So my name is Angela Cisneros. I'm a cloud business analyst at Optimum. I really get involved in the implementation of intranets and other products. My goal is to understand the client's needs, and then make sure that they're covered in the implementation. And then Ilya, he is a technical evangelist at Valo, and he's really the pro at everything Valo. So he's going to be the one giving us a demo in the environment a little later on. A little bit more about Optimum. Optimum is a consulting company based in Houston. So we're a full service software company, and we really specialize in software implementation and customizations. We're a certified partner with Valo, and the value that we really bring to the table is that we have a good understanding of the business side of work, and we incorporate that with our expertise in software development. So then when we work with clients, you don't just get that the technical side of things, but also, you know, we look at your processes and look at how we can automate and optimize and make things easier for our clients. We're really proud of our partnership with Valo and the value that we provide working with them. So let's see. So the digital workplace, that's become more important than ever with teams scattered. I'm sure most of you are probably working from home today. So having a space that's optimized for both your organization and your team is really crucial to efficiently and effectively working. So the question is, how do you accomplish that? How do you create and improve your digital workplace? And so that's where Valo comes in. So Valo is a product that works within the Microsoft 365 environment. And its goal is to enhance the user experience, both on the admin side and the end user experience. So Valo, it sits on top of your SharePoint and will not only utilize the SharePoint features that are available, but enhances those features, and then it adds extra capabilities that you might not currently have. So it really answers that question: how can we create more value for our everyday users? So what makes Valo different? So Valo is really more than just an intranet. Valo provides a comprehensive solution to your digital workspace needs. So most products on the market will solve one or two issues, but Valo provides solutions to meet all of your business needs. Sorry, can you mute your mics? Can we make sure that our mics are muted? Thank you. So Valo, as you can see here, we have the Valo Intranet, which is what we'll be talking about a lot today. But then Valo also works with Microsoft Teams, for example. They also have a teamwork module that will allow for collaboration and allow for enhanced working together. And then Valo Ideas, where you really can nurture and grow your ideas that your team may have. As you can see here, Valo is available on your browser. There's also a native mobile app that's available, and it's accessible right through Microsoft Teams. So if you do use Microsoft Teams right now, you can access it from Microsoft Teams. And then here's just sort of a comparison between what you get with your modern SharePoint versus with Valo. So you can see here that there's a ton of capabilities and features that are added and available using Valo. And then Valo is also very well known in the market. It has won a lot of awards. It's a very well accepted. It's used in over 50 countries and has a large client base all over the world. So it is a very well-known product. And at this point, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Ilya. Ilya is going to just take us through a deeper look into all of the features that Valo has to offer.
Thanks, Angela. Hello, also from my side. As Angela introduced, my name is Ilya. I work as an evangelist on the Valo side. We're working with the SharePoint and the Intranet products already since the early 2000s when SharePoint was introduced, and also other products at that point. If we look at the whole digital workplace, as Angela described, Valo Intranet is one of the products what we have available, and it has a certain set of features, if I may say, which are then introducing the capabilities to solve business problems what you generally have in your organizations. And we will be going through in much more detail through the features in demos, but just to set some stage where we are and what we are doing, and especially as Angela said, we are not developing things which are already out of the box SharePoint. We don't want to kind of do that, but we try to be always 1 to 2 years ahead of the curve what is expected to be done. And that way be able to, for example, support our content authors who are creating content with a very flexible, easy to use user interface for creating news, creating polls, surveys, events in Valo. And then at the same time, one of our core things, because Valo is from Finland, from Europe, and Finland is actually, if you didn't know, a bilingual country. So everything by the law must be on or done on 2 languages, especially if you are working for the public sector. And that we've been having a multilingual capability for Valo from the very beginning as well. And then we have also obviously the add-ons like social, being able to show social media features and so forth. But let's look at these in more detail from the demo. If we then briefly check out the Teamwork side, if you, Angela, can jump to the next slide. So Valo Teamwork is actually built on top of Microsoft Teams. And once again, I'm sure we are all here currently using Microsoft Teams as we speak, but then there's a collaboration side among Microsoft Teams as well. It's not only about being able to call each other, have these online meetings, but it's all about collaboration. And in that space, we found out already during the SharePoint timeframe that the governance is required. So how can we actually make it easy for customers to be able to find teams, what they should be working in, work within teams, and then also how IT is able to manage these teams in a simple way so that it would not become a hassle of hundreds or even thousands of teams being created but not being used, rather than being able to have a clear view of all the teams which are relevant to me and a clear model that how can I then provision these teams at the organizational level. And we'll have a brief look at that as well, because we think that regarding the modern intranet, Valo Teamwork is one tool also to support you, not necessarily if we think about rapid deployment in the first phase, but even in some cases, some of our customers actually take the teamwork first and then start the intranet deployment. And that's the reason why we want to show you a bit with Optimum, the tool here as well. And And then on the next slide, we can see Valo Ideas. This was something that we released actually today. We've had an idea management tool already inside Valo Intranet for a while, but today we are releasing a totally native Microsoft Teams app to actually be able to nurture your ideas within Microsoft Teams. So idea starts from the fact, in many cases, that there's a discussion. You are chatting with your colleague within the channel on Teams about certain topics, and then you realize that actually this might be a good idea to be able to introduce in more formal way. And for that reason, Valo Ideas was built on top of Teams. So it's an easy way for you to actually create any idea from any discussion, but at the same time, it's also easy for you to be able to manage the ideas in a more governed, harmonized way. When we look at the customer base, as Angela already mentioned, we are in 50 countries, over 2.5 million users at the moment, by 700 customers. We work in all different time zones. Our offices in Valo are in the North American offices in Montreal. Then we have an office also in Melbourne, in Australia, and our headquarters, as mentioned before, is in Finland, in Helsinki. Our customers vary quite heavily. There are big ones who want to spend hundreds of thousands for their intranet, because intranet is a core product for them to actually be able to succeed and communicate. Then we have also a lot of smaller customers, as you can expect, which then see intranet as their core tool as well, but they don't have money or time to spend there. And that has been the reason why we have created this rapid deployment model, especially to introduce new customers Valo and be able to then have Valo available at a very rapid 1-week deployment to be used in their internet needs. Back to you, Angela.
All right, thanks, Ilya. So yes, that's a great transition. So for smaller companies who may have a more limited budget, Optimum and Valo are partnering together to offer a 1-week implementation. So for $5,000 and the cost of licensing, you'll be able to implement an intranet for your entire company. So like Ilya said, a normal implementation could cost, a lot more and could take a lot longer, but because of our experience with rolling out intranets and with our familiarity with business processes and that type of thing, we're able to offer it in this 1-week period. And what this would include is we're going to do an project initiation and discovery workshop where we will sit down with your team and understand what your needs are, work to understand what you are looking for. From that, then we'll develop a high-level design as well as content architecture. And then that would include the installation and configuration and the setup of your templating and those type of things. And then also the training and so we would train your admins and then provide training for your everyday user. And then of course, at the end, the rollout and wrap up. So it's a nice offer. It's a great approach to really allowing you to get an intranet up and running quickly for your company. And then, being able to roll that out really quickly. So now we're going to jump into the demo. So let me pass the presenter over to you, Ilya. There we go. All right.
And as Angela said, please, if you have any questions at any point, do not hesitate to raise your hand, open your mic, or then chat just briefly and ask it. I hope you can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. So what do we see here? This is the Valo landing page, and Valo has been built since 2011, when obviously we didn't have Office 365, but we have SharePoint 2010, and since then the team in Finland. And then later, the global team has been continuing to develop Valo capabilities, user interface to be as usable as possible for the content authors, but also for the users consuming content. And if we start looking the core capabilities here, we can see that, okay, we have a beautiful banner on the top of the page, which is a carousel. I can click it there, then we have a transition every 3 seconds between different news items, what has been set to be highlighted. Then we have some local news, which are then using target audience targeting based on my local area where I'm based. So in Valo, we have a built-in targeting system, which is using the user profile information, what has been set in Azure AD, and then is available in SharePoint. And if once a reminder, so Valo is based on Microsoft 365 and SharePoint Online capabilities. So and we are leveraging a lot of those things, not to reinvent the wheel again, because there's tons of cool features available already in the platform. We have events capabilities, so easy way to actually promote different types of events. We have capability to promote people, because people are the most important part of our companies and our collaboration. So a possibility to leverage people capabilities, scroll on a high based on different search criteria. So for example, you can have in your HR section, your HR people promoted. You can have the your IT people easily promoted using the people web parts here. Weekly poll, easy way for actually to collaborate with a simple way, and then the social capabilities. And we will be looking all these. So this is one sample of a landing page. And we are also providing another sample of the landing page here, which is out of the box available. And this is what Angela was telling you earlier, is the basis for actually being able to deploy Intranet in 1 week. Because there comes a lot of built-in capabilities, and within those workshops and trainings, you are able to do and decide that, okay, which one of these 2 out-of-the-box pages would you like to have? Which type of links do you think that you would like to have here? Which kind of search criteria would you like to create for targeting news, updating news, and of course, which type of information architecture would you like to have? So what type of navigational elements would the mega menu be showing, and how are you able to then use those different items there? And that's part of the actual discovery workshop. So it is a very structured way to look at, okay, how these Valo capabilities can be mapped on your needs. And based on that, how can we then easily create a pre-configured environment for you in your own tenant, so that you would have all the single sign-on capabilities, you would have your own people directory there available, showing that, okay, these are our people, and then all these capabilities and the color scheming can also be configured for you easily. One thing with Valo to understand from the very beginning is that in the modern intelligent intranet, we are leveraging search as a core capability. So whatever we do almost here inside Valo, we are doing search. And even what you see here on this page, we are doing search even if I didn't type anything here, because we are doing a pre-configured search to show all our people in this demo environment. And that's one way to use search as well. And then when we go back to our Intranet main page, you can already guess that this is a search. We are showing all news which are highlighted. We are showing here all news which haven't been defined to be local. And then under this tab, we would be showing all news which have been set to local. So this is now looking at, okay, the account's user property, it matches the fact which has been set for the news item. Yes, show it as a local news. Global news, there's no property being set, or it's been set to visible to all. It's available here. So in that sense, if you think it, actually everything what you see in modern Intranet is search. We have all the events, and if I then start to create material, I would always go to Valo Toolbox, and I think this personally, I think what is the best value of Valo for creating content comes from the Valo Toolbox, because from here I can do whatever I need as a content author in my modern Intranet. And this will be part, obviously, for the solution what you will be getting as well. So if I, for example, would like to create a news, I'm able to say that, okay, I would like to create a news item. And then based on my user rights, I've been shown that, okay, you can create news into these following places. If I'm, for example, working in HR with my user account, I wouldn't probably be able to create news items anywhere else than in HR. Or if I'm working in marketing, I would probably not be able to create news items in HR and vice versa. But now this user, what we see here, this is able to create news wherever he wants. And then let me create a new news item into the what's new section, which is kind of the news hub of the environment. We see the beautiful template. We can have multiple templates available, and look at the right side on the page metadata, what happens when I change the template. Also the metadata changes. So there might be different set of metadata per every single template, which you might want to use. And this gives you possibility to then target this based, for example, on office location. So when, for example, I want to target this news item for certain roles, let's say that I would like to look at the business area, and this news would be targeted to IT. And then I can go in here and say that this news would be targeted to certain area, or then if I leave it empty, it's obviously targeted to everyone. Then I have tagging capability, and this is once again something what you will be working with Optimum team to define, okay, what type of values, what type of metadata fields would you like to have here. And then when it's been deployed, you would have all those available. And of course, at a later stage, when your business grows, situation changes, you can go in by yourself and do the update, so you don't need to have a full team actually help you on that. Then I will specify a template. Let's create this webinar with Optimum. Would be the name of this, publishing date, and I will actually set this to be highlighted. There's option for the description, which would be a short way of introducing the news item. And when I'm done, I will actually create my news article. And what happens here when we start creating news article, we actually automatically go and place this new article into where we want it to be done. If you have been using SharePoint out of the box, you would need to navigate first into the right place. Then you would need to select the template. After you have created the content, you would need to open the metadata for metadata editing. And it is a hassle, to be honest. I was working with SharePoint, as I mentioned, already 19 years, and it unfortunately hasn't evolved too much. But now we have created a page using the template what we were using, and now we are back to SharePoint. So we can use all the basic capabilities what SharePoint has to offer for us. I can go in, type text here. I can define this to be contact for this will be Kate Williams. And after that, it will be shown there. I'm able to add images. So these are all the basic capabilities what SharePoint has to offer. And then I can also start extending this capability with all the Valo capabilities, because these web parts, what we see here, come out of the box for you with SharePoint, but then you have a total of 14 different web parts, which you are able to use then and actually start showing what Valo has to offer. And let me show a couple of you simply, and actually I will be showing you only one because this is worth of tens of different web parts. So I will briefly say that, okay, in this page, I would like to also show, for example, a set of people, or then I would like to show a set of other information. Let's see if we are able to load the web part properties. And now I'm able to say that, okay, I would like to show, for example, news. And then it automatically gets me news everywhere from the current intranet. And I'm able to say that, okay, I don't want to show actually all the news, but I want to show news only from this site. And then I can say that I would like to only show the news based on certain timeframes, expired news, and this is actually the power of what we can do here. So instead of needing to create links, instead of needing to actually manage different types of items inside page, you can now start to use them and show them as easy as you can just show from the platform itself. Okay, I don't want to show news here. I would like to show events. With one click, with similar experience, it will actually look what type of events are there to be shown. And then at the same time, I'm able to go in and say, how do I want to show those events? In what type of user interface? And then also if I want to filter those events with certain set of metadata. And this goes on and on, because as I said, all information in modern intranet is indexed. So I can easily create the information here to be consumed. When I'm done, I will post the news. And when the indexing happens, this news will be available in the main page. And this will actually start to show in all those places where people want to show IT-related news items, because we set the metadata in the first place to include IT information. And we really believe that being able to easily provide end users possibility to create content is key in modern intranet. Let's jump to another view here and look at some of the other capabilities what you saw earlier there. So if we briefly look at our navigation, the mega menu navigation, what you have also in SharePoint, does not, for example, have security trimming, because all the items in the navigation generally are not meant for everyone to be seen. But in Valo, what we can do is we can actually define a certain navigational elements to be seen only for certain people based on the user rights. Then we have capabilities which we already show, like people directory, a simple, powerful capability of showing the people within your company, and also the fact that, okay, I would like to show, let's search for Antwerp, Elias from Antwerp. we are able to actually search per metadata. Let's search all architects, and these are software architects in our case. But it's not the fact that we want to search only about with name, but also with metadata regarding the people. Or then we would like to see that, okay, whose birthday is from yesterday to Friday, and we can see that we have these 5 dudes apparently are having birthdays in our demo environment. So we are able to also leverage that in multiple different ways.
So I have questions.
Yes, please.
So all these HR organizations and employee information, is that something? I know that the SharePoint is integrated with our AD, but I was wondering if that can kind of integrate with our HR system, because our AD is sometimes not most updated. And so I don't know how you pull those data from.
That's a really good question, and there's actually 2 ways to do that. By default, out-of-the-box experience is using AD, because the AD integration can be done, and that's they're built in. But then what SharePoint is leveraging there at the back end is SharePoint user profile, and then you can have, for example, an automated script using Power Automate, which does the import for you from also other systems. So you can easily say that, okay, if your HR system is, for example, creating a CSV file every night into some folder, or if it's then if it has even a real API interface, then you are able to say that, okay, let's ask from the API every night for the updated data, and let's update that into SharePoint user profile. And that way you can have not only AD integrated information in the user profile, but also from your HR system.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Then another capability is what we have here, and I will not be going through all of them, but just to highlight some of them which kind of are meaningful on the modern intranet is, for example, being able to show the social presence of the company. It's not only that, okay, we want to show that in the internet, but one, for the real employee advocacy perspective, we should be more proactively showing the information also internally. On the main page, show the Twitter feed, then have a single place where we are able to show all types of information from our social presence, what is available there, and then whether it's internal, whether it's external. If you are blogging, you would be able to see all your blog posts here and Facebook and so forth. So this is kind of one way to expose the company's social presence to internal users. And once this can be done in many different places, and if there's for example, once again, let's have an R&D example. If you are having R&D information in your social, you can easily then show those tags only in those pages where the R&D is relevant to be shown. If we then dig a bit deeper, so as I mentioned, this is the information architecture work. When you then define the information architecture, you work with the Optimum team to say that, okay, these would be the topics what we would like to have, these would be the pages, and if you, for example, think that, okay, there would be a traveling related page, then this would be the place where you start creating the content yourself. And in Microsoft 365, crucial to understand, I think, is that the content itself then can be almost anything what can be hosted in the cloud. Here, for example, we have a Microsoft Forms integration into the page of traveling, because in this page, the content author decided that, okay, it makes sense to actually provide easy way for anyone coming to the traveling page to make sure that there's a travel insurance in place for him or her. And that way I'm able to easily go in and actually type in and submit my travel insurance request. And then there might be a Power Automate process or manual process that's behind, which will then help you to actually fulfill this need, what someone had when accessing the page. And the list goes on and on. So when looking at the Valo implementation, there's a lot of things. And one which I like also quite a lot is the fact that we are talking quite a lot in our documentation, and we are talking about hubs and different types of information. How can you then access information easily? And everything what we are doing now, it obviously expects us to be inside Intranet. So you would be in your role to actually navigate with your browser to Intranet to be able to then look at the information from here. That's not always the case. And that's the reason why we are currently also, if we go to Teams, we really think that, okay, information work is the fact that you must be able to access the information using your browser. You must be able to access using mobile, but you must also be able to access relevant information for you also in Teams. And as you see here, we just a moment ago created a news item about webinar. We have these same news items flowing to me because I'm an information worker. I don't go to Intranet every day, but I use Teams every day a lot. And now by single click, I'm able to see that, okay, these are the topics what are currently being discussed inside our Intranet. And that way, actually, relevant information is brought to me wherever I am. If I'm a first-line worker, or if I'm there as an information worker on the field, we have a native app for mobiles, both for iOS and Android. And the same news item would be also available there. We have, at the same time, we have crucial information, for example, a sample of our crisis template, what we built up on Valo Modern Intranet regarding COVID-19. And how can we actually make sure that the whole company is able to access relevant information from a single place and have, for example, their frequently asked questions easily available for them. And one of our partners actually is currently in Southern California implementing our feature of frequently asked questions in every single site because their customers are always asking for it. They have single customer, for example, who is using multiple frequently asked questions capabilities because they are thinking it all from how can they actually share knowledge as transparently as possible. And every single time someone comes with a question in Teams, they actually create it with an answer on the FAQ. And that's the reason why they are using it very heavily. And this sample here is just showcasing to you that, okay, we are implementing the whole Intranet experience into Teams. Or then search. I was talking about the News Hub. Why can't we search everything what we have? So our enterprise search exposed by single click inside the place where I work every day. If you think that this use case, I'm sure you all agree that why should, if I'm looking for something when I'm working in Teams, why should I navigate myself outside Teams? Why can't I just step into our enterprise search, which shows all the content, not only from single place, but from every single place what SharePoint has been indexing. Please.
So did your search will cover like all the sub-sites or our SharePoint
Yes.
site? Okay. So if I am not the member of one site, can I still search for the document for that site?
No, this is a SharePoint capability which we are exposing from Teams, and all the SharePoint user rights management is taking place. So security trimming is showing me only documents which I have access here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So all the SharePoint site, not just our intranet.
Yes. And as you can see here, that's a really good point, because you can actually define it. You could say that between these three different tabs, you could say that one is for intranet, one is for documents, one is for people, one is for news, and you can have multiple ways to expose your information. It doesn't need to be that one site fits all. But it could be that one is that, okay, search inside intranet is one option for you, which you would like to use. But then there's also search in all workspaces, in every single team site from your OneDrive. That could be one search also configured for you from here that you can have every single piece of information. And I just spoke today with one of our support engineers, and the question what has come from a customer that, okay, how about then content in their file shares? Because there's a lot of archived file share content, and then they are still having SharePoint 2013 in place. So I said, you can create a hybrid search as well with SharePoint Online. So then you can even have one more tab here, which could say your file shares, and that would show only the content from your internal network, from the traditional archive. Because for me, taking all the content in SharePoint always doesn't make sense, rather than being able to search for the archive, which is in the file shares. And at some point, when you follow up the searches and the usage of the file shares, you can say that, okay, how about if we now do a real archive and put them store these on a hard drives and then put them in a safe place for the rest of the life, or then just delete it.
So when you okay, so you search the document, can you search for the so that is kind of like we need to create our metadata, everything we put on there, or
when SharePoint indexes, it collects certain metadata automatically. So, for example, author information comes automatically, file extension comes automatically, date comes automatically. But then if you have extended that with your metadata capabilities and set metadata also on those documents, then obviously that can be here in the refinement panel as well.
Yeah, I think that right now I have hard time to find the documents. Like some people send me the share, like, okay, I'll share this document to you, and everybody share the document, and then where they are, and probably 10 days later, I need to go back to the same person and say, can you share the link to me again? It's kind of like, doesn't know where it goes, because they share us, we don't know where they share from.
Yeah, that's actually really good point. I love it in a sense that, okay, if for example now I go into this page and actually now I opened the presentation and now I was able to access it. And one thing what I've been kind of instructing in these kind of scenarios for customers to consider that, okay, when they find a good places for the documents, they should actually turn the enterprise keywords on and tags on in every place. Because then with tagging, when that's being turned on, you could go actually in to the document metadata and say that you would like to tag this document for yourself. And suddenly with tagging, you can tag documents for yourself And then when you do search, you would search, show every single document where my name is as a tag. Because that way, actually, it is metadata stored within the document. It doesn't harm anyone. Or then you can tag it with some relevant metadata about the content or some other information. So there's multiple ways to actually work on that. And that way you do not need to actually share this as a single sharing, because this is the worst thing when the document moves to a new place, then this is not anymore, the link doesn't work. But if it's been tagged, then every single time you search for your tagged documents, they are being shown. Just a clever way to use SharePoint and SharePoint capabilities within Valo, and actually without Valo as well.
So basically, you just use the team, like Microsoft Team. You just create all your little apps, and those little apps is kind of like your SharePoint site.
So Valo for Teams here is actually exposing your intranet content inside Microsoft Teams. And then we are really working on here, because one thing what I mentioned earlier regarding teamwork as well. So teamwork is our way actually to help you even more with your Microsoft Teams sites, because we feel that, okay, there's a lot of improvement also needed. How can you search for relevant teams? So for example, I would like to easy way to search for team sites, and team sites may be having different kind of features here. So that if I want to see what is relevant, what is the info for the team site, or then I want to go actually and show that, okay, let's see about modern migration project. There's 4 members. They are using a lot of different tools here, but they are also using GitHub, and all that information is available for me easily.
Oh, okay.
And this gives you an easy way.
Is that very like a popular, like people just create their team site? Because we just let people create their team site. So like you say, there's a lot of people that just create their team site. We have no control.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And it is that is problem, and that is exactly why we are having this view for the users who are able to see the sites they are belonging. This view for the users who are able to see all the sites. So easy way to see all relevant sites and find a way to manage these. But then there's additional part where we want to actually empower the IT. So this is the way actually IT is able to manage all the different orders coming from team sites. So they are in the middle that, okay, do we really need that? And actually they can also look at, okay, we actually do have that site already, because they have a list of all the sites here. They can search these sites based on the metadata, and we have even different templates available. So when you want to create a certain type of team, then you can already say that, okay, my team actually is about project. So, and when I'm here thinking that, okay, we have a new project coming for our intranet, let's create a team site. And when I create a team, I will actually, it is a project. Let me select a project template. And now the magic happens at the bottom, because we are being asked also information about the project itself. And all the metadata here is valuable for the IT, it's valuable for the users who are consuming the content. And for example, with the project end date, we can start to manage the retention policy as well. And suddenly it's not only about anymore that you just go in and create some team site for your team to collaborate, but it's your team site has a purpose. Your team sites have a certain template. In that template, you have certain capabilities automatically built in. For example, if you create a new project site, you would have your official project templates there. You would have your all other material related to the project management capabilities, planner, other capabilities would be part of the deployment. And as a last thing,
one thing I don't like Microsoft Teams is kind of like you can only open one, and when you are working on like you chatting someone, and sometimes you're working on something else, and you jumping each other. Is there something you can kind of open multiple windows?
So that's a valid point. I don't like it myself either. So that you are expected to work only on one thing, even if that is to some extent true. That the multitasking capability of human is quite limited. But anyway, that is something what is inside Teams. And as I said earlier, we don't try to do with Valo things what Teams is doing, and they are actually fixing it as we speak. You should receive in the very near future already capability that you can have multiple Teams windows open. You can already have multiple chats open. If you double click the chat which you are currently doing, it will open to a small window for you with Teams client. Yeah, but then you would be having also capability of having multiple Teams windows open in the future as well. So that's not something what we are doing here, but we are actually giving you the governance on top of the whole Teams and how Teams are being managed from an IT perspective, but also how your end users can easily be working within Teams on a daily basis. And how can they actually, when they work within Teams, how can they actually easily access other relevant information which is being exposed to them without needing to go away from the team itself.
Right,
we are running a bit short of time.
We're running low on time, so I guess if we want to take some time to answer questions, if anyone has any other questions.
So I want to know, like, the price. What was included in the, like, you mentioned like 5,000. What is that included?
So that is going to include the 5,000 is going to include the implementation of Valo into your SharePoint environment. The licensing is separate from that, and that's something that we can discuss based on what your needs are. So we would have to, dig a little deeper to make sure we understand what you're needing. But yeah, so that 5,000 includes the project, all that the discovery work, a high-level content architecture, as well as all the installation, the branding, and then configuring and setting up your templates. And then at the end of that, it would include the training for your admins, as well as some training for your end users.
Okay. So the license, you said that the license is based on how many employees we have?
So I don't know if you want to talk about the licensing cost, Ilya.
Yeah, we have two licensing models available for you. One is exactly based on number of licenses per number of users per month. And another one then is if you want to go, we have also perpetual yearly license plus a kind of software assurance, which we call Fresh, which is a yearly add-on to have always the latest versions. So these two licenses are available, and we would love to actually be able to work more closely with you and see that how can we provide you the most affordable version based on your size and based on your needs.
Oh, okay. So that will be annually charged?
Yes. And let's, if possible, let's take that offline and look at, okay, what would be based on your size and based on your needs regarding the Valo Intranet, Teamwork, Valo Ideas, because there's a bit differences with those, and also based on your size, how many employees you are, to look at that. How can we actually go forward as fast as possible? Because the Optimum model, what we are having with Optimum is that their 1 week quick start enables to actually really rapid implementation of all the capabilities what we have seen today. And then on top of that comes the license cost, which is varies quite a lot based on then your size and based on your needs.
So, like if you want to, the intranet, the homepage, the landing page, or the detail, like sometimes you have a little bit widget and all this graphic. Is that something we need to do it by ourselves, or it's something like some
So we
little,
would provide the template, like we would customize the template. So it comes with that template that Ilya showed us, and then we would customize that based on our discovery session with you, to make that what you need it to be. As far as the content, we wouldn't create the content. We would allow you to create the relevant content that you wanted to include there. But we would go through how that content is created. We would train you on how to create that content in the environment. Does that answer your question?
But how about the graphic? Like you have some icon, and those icon have very cute graphic, and you click in, like those graphic like very artistic look like. Is there something
like the little quick link icons? Yeah. Oh yeah, those are included, and there's a list of icons that are available. It's a ton of icons. So yeah, those are available for your use.
So in short, branding based on your needs. So to have your color scheme based on your brand, your icon or there on the top left corner, all that is included in the 5K.
Yeah, because sometimes we don't have those people like making a graphic, and unless there's a picture about our companies, but others like kind of like sometimes you want to make the website looks good, you need to have some pictures, some graphic looks nice.
Yeah, so we would get you set up with the initial branding and all of that, and then from there, you would take over at that point to fill out the content for those.
Yeah, I think I would like to know like how much we need to pay like every year.
Yeah. So we'll, like I said in the beginning, we'll send out a meeting, or we'll send out an invite to set up a meeting with our team to discuss what the licensing or any further costs and what your needs are. So we'll send that out once we finish up with this, and we would be happy to meet with you. Are there any? Oh, go ahead.
So if Jeremy has any question, Jeremy probably doesn't have mic. So we currently have the intranet, but I don't like it. It's like not very. It's a bit old school, outdated, and so we need, and this need to involve a lot of different departments. So, for example, like HR, communications, and finance, like each department, they need to have someone come up to represent the department, and so.
Okay. Yeah, and those are all details again that we can discuss further.
Right.
We'll be sure to set something up with you to further discuss that.
Yeah. And I just like I said, it seems like with this software we can easier to maintain and kind of like save us time.
Yeah. It is like, very helpful in that.
Otherwise, I think technically I don't like. For example, like we can go to the SharePoint site to grab the template. But its template is a suffix, like how you can put your document together, but how you, for the long term, how you to maintain this document and how you can let the other department to be able to post the news. We don't want to play the role to post the news for them. So yeah, so I think this tool is more like help us to manage it and better.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, and so I need to have some like to persuade people or persuade my boss, and need to have more information, and maybe I need to come out some like why we need this.
Yeah. And let's definitely
And this
discuss
is
that
because
further.
that currently we have intranet, but we don't use it at all. Nobody use it, and just like, and especially like nowadays, so many people work from home and work for different locations.
Right,
And
right.
the main communication is through the email, and I want to have the portals, and then HR can post their news there, and
Yeah.
yeah, so even the HR, they have their own system, and they try to make their system like a portal, like employee portal, because I can see they try to put all the information on our HR systems. But I still feel there's HR system that is not our employee portals, and it's not those like a SharePoint slide like that, very stunning looking, and the pages looks good, and communication can put the news there. But I don't know if there is something like we currently communication only put the news on our TI website. So I don't know if
Okay.
there is is there a duplicate work, because TI website like is a public website, and we're talking about this is for our employee only.
Yeah.
And
So
now,
I think that getting into this detail would be good
right,
on a separate call. That way we can really dig into what your needs are specifically. And we're really happy to do that. But please, yeah, just let's get something set up, and
yeah,
yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great. Um, are there any other questions before we hop off? I know it's already 2 o'clock, so I don't want to take
yeah,
too much more time. Any other questions before we jump off?
I don't have.
Okay. Okay, great. Well, thank you guys again for your time. We really appreciate it. And like I said, we'll be sending out an email to get something scheduled with you guys. Thank you again, Elia. This was great.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, and thanks, Vanessa, for good questions there. Really good.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye, all.
Bye-bye.